Alright, David Harry here, and in this video I'm going to be seeing how the RODE Wireless Go matches up to the Sony ZV-1. So as you can see here, I've got the transmitter microphone here off the RODE Wireless Go, and its receiver is just clipped to the top of the Sony ZV-1 via the little shoe mount, and then obviously plugged into the mic input. So what I'm going to do here is just trolley off into the park, talk a little bit, give ourselves an idea of how this all sounds. Then I will also do a little bit as well with the internal microphone on the ZV-1, just so we can see what these major differences are or aren't. Okay, so something that's probably worth mentioning straight away is the fact that I've got the ZV-1 on the end of a telescopic stick. So what it is, I've put a few things together here just to give me some extra reach with the camera, you know, so I can push it a bit further away from myself and get that wider angle, which is what I really do prefer for this vlogging position. Now at the moment, I've actually got it only extended part way, which is all I need to do to get it to the distance it is from me right now. And I've got a bit of a bend in my arm as well. So it's actually quite comfortable to hold. Now, that's it kind of fully at the end of my reach with the telescopic bit on the end as well. Now, the only problem with anything like this, and this is regardless of how light the Sony is, after a while, you will start kind of getting a bit tired in your arm and things will start feeling a lot heavier than what they really are once you start holding things this far away from you. So what I'll be doing mostly in this video when I'm doing the walkie-talkie bits is to hold it with the bend in my arm, and that's only because it will feel a bit lighter for me and I'll be able to do longer takes and stuff. Okay, so with all this talking that I've done so far then, that should give us a really good idea as to how this Wireless Go sounds with the ZV-1. Now there is one thing here though, because what it is, this microphone isn't exactly cheap. And on top of that, some people may argue and say, well, do you really need to use a wireless system when the camera is only like this close to you and it's just as easy to pop a cable in? Now, both those arguments are really good. Yes, it's not cheap, and two, you could just as easily throw a lavalier in and stuff like that. But if you're like me and you're a little bit clumsy, shall we say, and you're prone to pulling cables and tipping things over and just basically getting yourself into a mess when there's cables around, then something like this is really cool because it just allows you to go untethered, so basically no cables. And because we don't have any cables now attached to the system and we are totally wireless and untethered, it allows us to walk away at some considerable distances away from the camera and stuff. So if you're out and about and you do need to get a little bit of distance away from the camera, I don't know, you might be somewhere where you need to go further into the frame to discuss or point or talk about something, whatever use you've got for having to walk away from the camera, you can obviously do it with this one. Now, of course, you do have to be careful though with the distance that you're going to be with the RODE Wireless Go from the transmitter to its receiver, because if you go too far, it'll definitely go out of range and it'll cut out. Also, as well, if you're around other objects or if objects like people or anything get in between the line of sight from the transmitter to the receiver, that'll cause problems and it will start cutting out and stuff really quickly when that happens. But for typical vloggy style stuff, or even doing like interviews and things like that, I really can't see there being many scenarios where you would run into problems with range or obstructions to do with the Wireless Go system. Alright, so I've now switched over to the internal microphone system on the ZV-1, just so we can give ourselves a bit of an idea as to how this all sounds as well by comparison to the Wireless Go. Now the thing is, it's true to say that if you just like the sound of the internal mic system anyway, there is absolutely no need to use an external microphone, other than maybe in scenarios like special microphones like a wireless, which gives you all that distance you could probably get away from the camera, because of course you can't do that with the internal mic of the camera. But regardless of whether you think you need an external mic or not, and if you do really much prefer the internal mic system, there's obviously certain issues with the internal mic system when it comes to putting the camera on the end of like a telescopic stick or something, and that is the further away the camera gets away from you, and therefore the microphone gets further away from you, the more chance that that microphone has got of picking up other sounds more than your voice. And obviously your voice will get quieter the further away you get and stuff. So there are a few little concerns like that you'd have to bear in mind really when you're using the internal mic system. But, and like I've said this before in other videos, if you are strictly using this as a vlogging type of device, then the least amount of equipment that you go out with, the better. Okay, so now that we've had an example of how the internal microphone system sounds on the ZV-1, I'm now going to do that thing where I cut quickly between the internal mic and the external mic whilst reciting one of the verses from Devo's Jocko Homo. They tell us that we lost our tails, evolving up from little snails. I say it's all just wind in sails. Are we not men? We are Devo. Are we not men? D-E-V-O. All right, so I think that will just about do it then for this video. And what I've done here for the last take, I've come off my little telescopic stick. I've took the legs that I would normally have on the bottom and just screwed them straight to the bottom of the camera. That's because everything's all 1/4-20, so it's really easy to mix and match these things. Then I've put it right at the end of my arm reach there. Anyways, yeah, so let us know in the comments what you think of the wireless Go with the ZV-1, and also, is it necessary to use it really? Obviously, aside from the obvious things you might want to use a wireless system for, was the microphone element an improvement over the ZV-1? Anyways, yeah, and if you're into this stuff that I'm doing with the ZV-1 and whatnot, if you go to www.sonyzv1.com, that will take you to a playlist where you can find all of my videos that I'll be doing with the ZV-1. Also, there'll be links in the description below to take you to like Amazon to get hold of a bunch of the stuff that I've been using in this video. And so now for the last thing to say, I'm David Harry. Thank you very much for watching this video. Take care and goodbye now.